Welcome back to the British Broadcasting Channel. We have a great show for you guys today. We have a team of our best interviewers interviewing the public about some serious topics that you guys will find very interesting. Mike Oxwang has been charged for the murder of Barry McCockiner. The topic of the death penalty is very controversial in itself. Here's Rachel gathering people's thoughts about the death penalty.
What's your opinion on the death penalty?
I think it should be kind of allowed because that people done bad stuff, they deserve something, and if they're put into jail they could be freed or and get out and do more bad stuff.
What is your opinion on the death penalty?
My opinion on the death penalty is that it varies by case. I think as a society, it's a really good recognition that we don't tolerate certain types of crime, but it also can get pretty tricky when it goes case by case exactly what somebody's penalty should be, especially in the face of psychological issues.
What's your opinion on the death penalty?
Ooh, that's a tricky one. I would say that the death penalty is often used against people who did not commit a crime, and so I guess because of that I would say I don't believe in the death penalty.
It's flu season, and as you all know, that means it's also season of vaccinations. Here's Ava gathering people's thoughts about vaccinations.
What are your views on vaccines?
Oh, I think they're very important to keep people healthy and prevent a lot of really dangerous and deadly diseases that have occurred throughout the years.
Last week, the little 8-year-old boy named Jonathan Isaac ate at Chipotle. He contracted E. coli, and yesterday he succumbed to that horrible disease. Here on the streets, we have caller reporting on the antibiotic crisis.
Are you aware of the recent increase in antibiotic use?
I'm not.
Alright, well, background is that recently doctors have been prescribing more antibiotics for people who don't necessarily need them, and it's creating bacterial resistance. Have you heard about this at all?
I have not.
Does that worry you at all?
Maybe. I don't know.
If this continues, how long do you think we have until a superbug wipes us all out?
I don't know. I feel like we're pretty good about that. I don't think we'd have that for a while.
Abortion. Take it away, Marco.
Pro-life or pro-choice?
I think I'm pro-choice.
Why?
I think that you should have the choice to decide what you do with your body and what, the decisions that you want to make for yourself.
Pro-life or pro-choice?
What do you mean?
Are you for or against abortions?
What's an abortion?
The deliberate termination of a pregnancy.
Pro-life.
Why?
Because pro-choice, you're a murderer and you deserve to be sentenced for a full life in prison if you're pro-choice.
Why?
Because you're a murderer.
What makes them a murderer?
They're killing the baby.
When do you consider the fetus to have rights?
Heartbeat detected.
Why?
Because it's a living thing.
In 2018, 636,139 fetuses were aborted.
That's how many people should be in prison.
Pro-life or pro-choice?
Pro-choice.
Why?
I don't think it's something that the government should really have any limits on other than making it safe and available for people that want it.
Why?
Because, I think it's the sort of thing that if it were banned or made illegal, people would still get them just in an unsafe way.
When do you consider the fetus to have rights?
Third trimester. I think that should be the cutoff point.
Why?
Because at that point, you're well aware that you're pregnant, you're well aware that you should be prepared, and at that point, I think it's a little too far of a line.
In 2018, 636,139 fetuses were aborted.
Okay.
Pro-life or pro-choice?
I would definitely say pro-life.
Why?
Well, for one thing, my personal beliefs is that I am a follower of Jesus Christ, and that I believe that all people are created in the image of God, and that they're all deserving of life, and that they all deserve the right to life.
When do you think fetuses begin to have rights?
I believe that maybe. That is a tough question. I'm not very experienced in answering these kind of questions, but yeah. I believe that life begins at conception, and the Bible teaches that before the foundations of the world were created, that God prepared the lives of all people. And so, even before that, they are conceived and are given the breath of God into their lungs and begin to develop, that they were always destined to become people.
In 2018, 636,139 fetuses were aborted.
It's terrible. That's sad. It's a sad truth about the world that we live in.
Pro-life or pro-choice? Pro-life or pro-choice?
I'm pro-choice.
Why?
I just think that you should have the option of whether or not you want to keep the baby, especially if you didn't want to get pregnant in the first place.
Pro-life or pro-choice?
Well, actually, what I believe should happen is I think we should develop a technology that we can send a signal to each and every cell in the human body, or therefore a baby's body, to ask the baby what they want to happen. For a real-life scenario that we could take into abortion, send signals to little baby Jeffy. Jeff, do you want to get aborted? Or do you want to live? I actually don't care. Then it's the woman's choice. But if we can't develop that technology, pro-life.
When do you consider the fetus to have rights?
8 weeks after conception, when it has a heartbeat. Because
pro-life or pro-choice?
I'm pro-life.
Why?
I just think every living being has a right to live, have a choice in life.
When do fetuses have rights?
I don't know the certain week rate, but I'm not for late term abortion or anything. I guess all I'm really for is if it's rape cases or something like that, where they can get it done right away. So
in 2018, 636,139 fetuses were aborted.
What do you want me to say to that?
Do you feel weak or tired? Losing an abnormal amount of weight? Have joint or abdominal pain? And you may have hemochromatosis. Hemochromatosis is a genetic disorder where your body absorbs too much iron. Dr. Sharon Moalem, an expert on hemochromatosis, was only 18 years of age when his joints started to feel achy. His bestseller book, Survival of the Sickest, brings awareness to this genetic disease and many others. You can buy his book today.
Did you know that 2.3 million people are currently in prison in the U.S.? 50 years ago, this number was less than 350,000. Not only does the U.S. have the highest rate of incarceration of any country, we incarcerate people unfairly. In 2013, African American males were 37% of the total male prison population, while they only make up for 12.1% of the whole U.S. population. If you want to understand these injustices better, Just Mercy by Bryan Stevenson is the book for you. Bryan Stevenson, a human rights lawyer and founder of the Equal Justice Initiative, fights discrimination against poverty and race in our criminal justice system. Through different death row stories, Stevenson illustrates in his book how much easier it is for a black person to be convicted or put on death row for a crime that the same white person could commit and get off much easier. Find Just Mercy, one of the 100 notable books in the 2014 New York Times Book Review, in a store near you and get reading today.